We have massive updates with the Epstein conspiracy cover-up as House Republicans have voted no to release the Epstein files. Happened last night. I'm going to share that. And also, we've got Charlie Kirk saying, you know what? I got a phone call from Donald Trump, and we're just going to trust, and we're not going to talk about this anymore. What? Are you kidding me? Luckily, others with a spine, Candace Owens, are continuing to rail on this story. And we've got Gavin Newsome going on a very, very big conservative podcast to have a 4-hour discussion, leaving the conservative podcast audience flummoxed, right? They don't know what to make of this. There's a lot of unity happening right now. And believe it or not, a lot of people are coming together, left and right, to say enough is enough. This isn't the swamp that we're draining. We need to take matters into our own hands. So I'm going to share with you guys exactly what was said as Republicans blocked the House vote to release the Epstein files. And we knew this was going to happen. But, and by the way, this is why I would love to see, votes on Medicare for all and votes on popular things that would help the American public. Let's vote on getting private equity out of home buying so that people can afford a home. Let's vote on these things so we can see which of these crooks, which are taking money from different sources, are voting against our interests, right? I would love to see that. Well, here's Charlie Cook. They said adorable. Not Charlie Cook. Charlie is cooked. Charlie Kirk got his marching orders. Ken Klippenstein says, Charlie Kirk says, I'm done talking about Epstein. How convenient. Let's have a listen to this.
I'm done talking about Epstein for the time being. I'm going to trust my friends in the administration. I'm going to trust my friends in the government to do what needs to be done, solve it, balls in their hands. I've said plenty this last weekend. So if you guys want to see my commentary on it, that's fine. Honestly, I'm done talking about it.
Well, I'm so glad we solved this one. A giant pedophile ring? No need to talk about it. Andrew Wazinski says, after it was reported that Trump called Charlie Kirk to ask him to tone down his criticism of the Epstein files, he now says that. And again, it's wild. Here is, I'm gonna play this entire clip for you. House Republicans blocking the vote to release the Epstein files. Wild day to be alive.
Madam Chair, the Epstein files concern issues of abuse of women and abuse of children. You know, as the chair of the Democratic Women's Caucus, you often see me raising issues of we need to address this. And not only that, but Republicans and the MAGA world have said they want to know about this. Your constituents want to know. So the question is, why are they not just releasing them? And I think it's a simple thing to do. And you're going to be asked to vote whether you require the release. That's going to be a simple vote. Will you require the release? Is there anything that needs to be hidden? If there isn't, then just release the files. Silence those who would question it. So every Republican on this committee should be able to easily vote yes.
And of course, they all voted no. So, I mean, she set it up perfectly, right? She said there's absolutely no reason we shouldn't all be on board with this. Now, why did they vote to block the release? The same reason they voted for the big, beautiful bill. They're afraid to, I guess, damage their relationship with Supreme Leader. I mean, I don't know what else to say. And people are already wrapping their head around how Trump might be involved. Tyrone says, did the Democrats destroy the real file and make a fake file that implicates Trump, and that's all the evidence they have now? Are people's brains broken? Listen, I know there's a lot of lead poisoning out there. You know, maybe you licked some lead playgrounds when you were a kid, but the neurodegenerative diseases that must exist to get people to cope with what, you know, like, and do like sort of gymnastics and stretches around the truth in order to not offend the way, you know, their brain has been constructed over the last few years. It's like we need people to critically think and go, look, either he's in the list and it's the worst things you could even imagine, or they made the list up as a way to exploit their base, their conspiratorial base. I don't know. Is it Frankenstein? Did he create Frankenstein? Or what is it? You know, here's what Candace Owens has to say.
It's like you think your base is stupid. That's how I feel. I feel like Trump thinks his base is stupid, or again, because I don't think he's pressing send on these messages, the people around him certainly think that Trump is stupid. And that shouldn't surprise you, given the fact that all of these people were never Trump. They were never Trump. Trump is surrounded by people who hate him and have infiltrated his base. And they think, as they thought, that Trump was too stupid to be president, that his base is too stupid to see through the lies that they are telling right now. And so what are they going to do? What is the last thing they're going to do now with the Epstein stuff while we're still reacting to it? Oh, Operation Just Give Them More War. Yeah, war as a distraction. Never mind, we can't talk about Epstein because...
It is scary what might come next as a distraction, right? Of course, Trump tweets that he's going to deport Rosie O'Donnell and, foolish things like this. What is worse than Trump thinking his constituents are stupid is Trump not caring whether they believe him or not when he gaslights them. People have made this comparison to Russia, how, they'll have people will fall out of the 27th window. And of course, there's a lot of, assassinations and things like that that'll happen with political dissidents. And it's like no one thinks that they're all just falling out of the out of their balcony window, but people don't seem to question the reality. Now, I'm not saying we're going to become a society where we just off all of our political dissidents, but what I'm saying is gaslighting, just pure, sewage out of your mouth right to your audience. So far, they've been okay with it, right? When it came to the Signal Gate, where we were using, messaging apps that we weren't supposed to share war plans, and they just tell you that wasn't true, and it's like, what are you talking about? The evidence is right there. So there's so many examples of like the Trump grifting with the crypto coin and situations like that where this would have never flown before, but we've sort of bent the rules to what we care about. Like, we don't care about the Constitution. Steve Bannon's talking about Trump running for a third term. We don't see, it's like, do we care or do we not? Are we going to be a country that upholds the values of the Constitution, due process, things like that? Or are we just going to say, yeah, but let's screw it to the other side? And, I don't have an answer for that right now. What was very big yesterday was the release of this Gavin Newsome interview by Sean Ryan Show. Now, Sean Ryan Show, 4.6 million YouTube subscribers. This is a massive podcast, and the comment section is universally super critical of Gavin Newsome being on the show. But they do discuss the Epstein files, and Gavin Newsome does provide his thoughts as to how, he being the leader of the fourth largest economy in the world, California, has had to deal with Trump and the target on his back. The quid pro quo, I'll help you with emergency relief if you do the X, Y, and Z, and this weird sort of dick measuring contest they've had back and forth. We'll get to that in a second, but this first clip is them kind of calling out the fact that they do not accept the narrative around the Epstein files.
It was a big push in his campaign about releasing the Epstein files. When are we going to see the list? And I mean, he rode that, in the campaign, and then is potentially destroying his entire base by just dismissing it and closing the case. So I'm curious, what are your thoughts on what's going on?
I don't want to just play into it because the whole thing has always been to me a sideshow. But I thought it got real interesting when Elon put out that tweet, and then all of a sudden, a few weeks later, what file? I thought it was really interesting to watch Trump take over for Pam, who's an old friend of mine. Don't want to get her fired for saying that. Bondi, the AG, and she was asked a direct question about it. Trump defensively jumped in. That was the most defensive I've seen him in a while.
So what do you think?
By the way, I love that Gavin said Pam Bondi's an old friend of mine. I don't want to get her fired for saying that. So I see Gavin Newsome here as stoking the fire and saying, look, yeah, what's interesting is all these things they're saying, like Gavin Newsome, he might not even believe there's too much to the Epstein file. Do I believe there's a lot to the Epstein file? I honestly don't know. But I know by them voting not to release it all, there's something there. And Ghislaine Maxwell, what does she know? Will she be using whatever leverage she has to try to get released and do some backdoor deal? Honestly, we have no idea. But here's Gavin really railing on Trump. And you really see the gloves off. And listen, you might think, oh, California is this communist state. It's not. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world. Does it have a lot of issues? Yeah, like any complex, society does. It's one of the largest regions of the world. It's the largest county in our country, and it's the largest economy in our country, and it's got a lot of problems. And they've got to get those fixed. But at the same time, they're out there battling a lot of what they believe, and I believe, is a lot of fascist takeovers of the government. The masked ICE agents wreaking havoc, and all of the different ways that Trump has sort of consolidated his executive power and not use the other fair balances of the government to govern, and just trying to become a dictator. Here's what Gavin has to say about all that.
Citizens, including American citizens, literal American citizens, people with green cards. And to terrorize people. He was in MacArthur Park with these National Guard, these heroes, being used as pawns for theater with, again, damn Blackhawks overhead in the middle of the day while kids were in soccer camp. They didn't make one arrest. It was a sign of cruelty. It was an expression of cruelty, just to be cruel. It's weakness masquerading as strength, man. Like, what the hell's Trump do? He's got 4,000 of your brothers and sisters out there in American City. And by the way, 90% of them aren't doing a damn thing, which means they're not at home with their families. A lot of these guys are police officers and firefighters. They want to teach summer school, and they're sitting there in the damn armories waiting for some bullshit assignment so that he can look tough.
Listen, I'm sorry. I don't think anybody right now is providing a better resistance to what we're seeing than Gavin Newsom. There's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of issues that have been going on, but this idea that, Gavin went out to the French Laundry when we were doing restaurant shuts down. Yeah, that was a bad thing that happened, but we're talking like, do we sort of hold on to this experiment called democracy or not? That's what we're talking about. And he's calling it out. He's calling out the theater that is going on and the terror that is being, marched through different communities. I wanted to share this very interesting clip here by Andrew Cuomo. Actually, let's go right here. Andrew Cuomo decided, even though he lost the primary, that he's going to be running for mayor of New York City in the independent category. Have a listen.
I'm Andrew Cuomo. And unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know that the Democratic primary did not go the way I had hoped.
And boy, did it not go the way he hoped. So he lost, right? He lost by a lot in one of the biggest upsets ever. And they used to say, vote blue no matter who, which I don't agree with. But now that Mamdani won, he's going to run as an independent, which is interesting. So he posts in it to win it, right? And again, will he have the support of the public? How about this? Zoran Mamdani posts in the comment section the link to contribute to his campaign, and he ratios Andrew Cuomo. And by that, I mean Andrew Cuomo had 3,500 hearts, and Zoran Mamdani had 109,000 hearts. You don't understand what a grass movement looks like until you see it. Zoran Mamdani is going to wipe the floor with this guy. And the more everybody tries to stop it, the more he's going to rack up exposure and votes. And that's just the world we live in. It's a populist movement. It's a movement where people are coming together and say the rich have gotten rich enough. Let's break some off for the rest of us, and let's restore the middle class. Can't argue with that, right? If you like this podcast, feel free to break some off and put some bread in the tip jar. Patreon.com/Dave Neal. I go live every morning for my private membership-only live stream. You can see kind of how the sausage is made behind the scenes as we prepare for the podcast and record it. You can see that whole thing play out. Patreon.com/Dave Neal. Otherwise, we'll be back in the afternoon. We're live twice a day, every morning and every afternoon. I'm Dave, and this is The Rush.